Well, what's up, guys? Thank you for clicking on the video. So yeah, we're going to talk about 2024, and as you can see, I'm in a unique place that a lot of people probably, well, definitely don't know about. Is I've had this cheap houseboat for some time now, and we're just going to kind of do a little walk on through to the stern, something like that. So we're going to talk about what's ahead, what I'm thinking, things like that. And well, you get a nice view. This is Lake Mojave basically behind me. So this is an extension off of the Colorado River, and this is a place called Catherine's Landing. So we picked up this houseboat some time ago. It was owned by an older couple and was in a lot of disrepair and things like that. So I got it super cheap and done a lot of work to it. And just on the side, don't get down here very much. It was kind of a thing that I was like, being in Vegas, and obviously we have Lake Mead up there behind Hoover Dam. If you go below Hoover Dam on the Colorado River, you end up here. And there's another dam called Davis Dam. And so I don't get down here as much as I'd like to. But it's kind of a getaway type of situation. So we are in 2024. I haven't uploaded since Christmas, and man, it's been it was a tough year. 2023 was the biggest financial year, the largest year of revenue, obviously, for KnightDriveTV. I'm happy to say in 2021, 2022, 2023, we have grown and scaled each year. So last year, 2023 was good to me in terms of revenue, was bad to me in terms of suppliers, in terms of taking a lot of loss. While making more money, I was losing more money. So it was pretty tricky. I'm super pumped. I'm making a video now only because at least all the light debacle is over. We only have the bezels left with the mold company, and then we have the C5 maxed ins, which are getting hung up on a small issue that had to do with an adapter that I ran. I had in my C5Z06 for many years. It was an adapter to connect an iPod to a factory radio, and when they did some of the pinouts, when the engineers were here, they pinned out the audio system through that adapter. And so what that led to was our PCB boards are now wrong, so we have to make them again. So I kind of hung up the C5 maxed in, but that's in process. The mold, it's for that as well, is in process, and we expect those maybe about the end of March. That's what they're talking about with the bezels behind them. So why, I don't make a lot of decisions when it comes to some things and how these companies manage these things. I submit the orders. We've been pushed forward a little bit, and that's what I want to talk about a little bit, is just helping people understand kind of the nature of this business. Maybe it's everybody comes from different walks of life and different levels of understanding, and some people contact me. There's one person in particular, he emailed me last night, and he goes into these rants, 6, 7 paragraph, 8 paragraph, 10 paragraph rants about how business is supposed to work and how I'm supposed to do things, and the reason I'm not doing them. He also claims he knows why, and you get a lot of this stuff, and honestly, guys, it's business is tricky, and I've had a lot of businesses for a lot of years, and I've done things a lot of different ways. It's just tricky, and you manage it. You learn how to manage it better each time.
Pushing buttons.
This is how he acts all the time, people. I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna edit this together on YouTube. I definitely have learned a lot of lessons over the past 15 plus years of shops and working with other people and partnerships and things that didn't work and things that did work, and the traps I've gotten into and the traps you can get into in this type of business. And obviously there's some elements of this of KnightDriveTV are a little different. The social media, the volume of communication that I have with customers and with people is higher than any business I've ever had. Having shops, having a restaurant. I typically was doing one-on-one type of services, and to where my customer pool at any given time might be 10, 15 people. You know, it may even in a restaurant, you know, 75, 80 customers at a time, maybe. But, and that was tricky in itself, but you know, this is on a different level. Social media is on a different level, obviously. And, you know, for the 97% of people that I think are generally very reasonable, very understanding people, you know, you get this couple percent, which, you know, just have a lot to say, and it goes all kind of different directions, you know, as the ones that think they got it all figured out, and you know, the ones that think they got a ton of experience because of this or that, and you know, it's just one of those things, you know, until you do it, until you experience it, until you walk a mile, you know, in the moccasins, you really can't understand and really relate to you know, businesses, especially of this nature, I think, which have changed, and the way that I run this business model, using YouTube and leveraging a lot of social media and interaction with the customers, versus being kind of a silent, invisible company owner like the majority of aftermarket parts companies. You know, it adds an upside and a downside. So it's been challenging in the first 3 years to scale that, keep up with it, and you know, and it's, you know, it's gotten tricky at times for sure. And you may have seen, some of you may have seen, I made some changes this year as the volume of this has gone up a lot more. You know, I have an email system which now has an autoresponder. If you email me, typically the reason I created the autoresponder is because I wanted people to immediately have access to where available information is located as it pertains to orders, prototypes, things like that. You know, using kind of some built resources, the Facebook groups, the website, and the YouTube channel is really what I'm going to have to focus on, funneling everything to more in 2024 moving forward. And the reason that I have to do this is it's easier for me to talk to you guys in this manner, and then maybe you have comments or something like that, and I can try and cover, you know, the questions that I get 10 or 15 emails about the same question. It's just easier for me to do this package of video, and if I can basically guide everyone to the same place to where they can always find those answers reliably, that's going to be better for you, and it's going to be better for me. And so those were big changes that I really focused on making. Obviously, like I said, with the social media and Facebook and the groups are very imperative to keeping people informed, understanding what's going on. And so it's not to say that I still scan the emails. I try to find unique questions and things where people do need immediate assistance, but again, I'm trying to run this very efficiently for a reason. I've had shops before. I had a very large shop with many employees and things like that, and just there's a lot of indicators in the economy and things right now that I have, you know, throughout this pandemic and all this stuff, it's questionable as to how things were going to go. We were seeing massive, you know, printing of trillions of dollars was being injected into the economy, and there was, you know, huge demand and a lot of consumer spending, but we're seeing all that turn around now. And just, I knew very early, I had a saying, and I could probably put it here, I probably have it on video even, as I was telling people that in 2020 and 2021, I was telling people the real pandemic is ahead. And the pandemic that's really going to affect everybody is going to be financial, and it's going to be the cost for all of that. And so, you know, I felt that way very strongly when all this started. And so for that reason, I think I've held back a lot. I've wanted to keep things small, compact, as efficient as possible. And so that's why it's just Kelsey and I, and then Lace does the shipping once a week, basically. And she works about 2 days a week for KnightDriveTV, and then manages Instagram and stuff like that. So I'm doing that because, you know, in the event of a lot of drawback, you know, I want to be able to navigate that and not be in trouble myself or in trouble with anything else. So that's kind of where things are going to go this year. So I want people to start trying to pay more attention to YouTube and the Facebook group and the website. So I am going to probably add a members level to the videos. I think there's some things more in depth, and I'd like to know, you know, I have some people that have approached me about investing in different ways if I have other things and opportunities going on, which being in this position, you know, to where you have a lot of people watching what you're doing and watching you grow over time, and my willingness to be transparent about a lot of that growth, which I'm going to talk about more in this video. There are people that have been interested in either collaborating or considering, if there is investment opportunity in anything that I'm doing or anything that I have a collaborative contribution to, or things like that. So point is, I want to kind of find a way to, condense the group down to people. We have the founding members and the founding member coins, and that's going to have a lot of value as far as you as a consumer, or you as a person, an enthusiast of a Corvette that enjoys some of the things that I'm trying to make. That gives you advantages and leverage there. But I think there's another level to where some people just want to have more involvement potentially in like KnightDriveTV, what I'm doing, or have more insight in detail. And so I think I'm going to start a members only area, and it's not really for financial reasons. Obviously, I spend some money, on YouTube and Adobe Premiere each month, and Epidemic Sound, and there's a lot of maintenance costs in just making YouTube videos. But financially, KnightDriveTV absorbs that, and so the members group really is just like when you see people, they say don't give away catch, charge money for them, because people do crazy things, but when they're willing to pay for something, it changes a little bit. It's usually a decent person, something like that. So I think the point is I'm going to use it as a bit of a filtering system, that if people are willing to spend $5 or $8 a month or something to be a member, you can have access to videos that I will only make for members. And that's something that I kind of want to do. And I think that it could lead to getting maybe some of those core people who really follow the business, maybe want some type of, there's a lot of you out there, and I've talked to all kind of people. A lot of you guys that watch and say, hey, I got this idea for this product, or maybe I'd like to make this, but I got a full-time job, or, I'm retired, I want to invest some money or want to get involved in some ways. It's been surprising, but, I want a way for me to communicate with those people a little more closely. So look for that to be coming out as well. Like it may be YouTube, because it's easy. YouTube takes 30% of that. So if it were a $10 membership, obviously YouTube's taking $3 of that. Patreon takes a lot less, but Patreon's a different platform. There's a lack of convenience. And so, like I said, it's not really about financial. I hate to give money to Google, but that's the way it goes. So it'll probably be YouTube membership. And that's the reason for it. It's really so that I can communicate more business detail, and more real under the blanket type stuff that I'm very hesitant to discuss in the open realm. And people who are members, I will kind of be vetting and looking into each and every one of those. So let's see, going forward from there, let's talk briefly about the pre-buy stuff. And the reason I want to talk briefly about the pre-buy stuff is because, again, while most people understand the nature of pre-buys, the reason for pre-buys, I'm just briefly, and I'm going to make actually a long form video on this shortly ahead, kind of really describing in depth my perspectives and opinions on pre-buys. But just in brief, let's just define it as when people participate in a pre-buy, the reasoning for that is, one, it mitigates risk for me to make something that I'm not sure there's a large enough audience to justify me absorbing the manufacturing costs for. So by doing that, essentially what you're asking for is an investor pool, and the idea of the investment is, one, you're saving money. You're investing in the company trust, you're investing the whatever stipend that you are paying for that product, and then you are basically benefiting by receiving the product and receiving it at a reduced cost versus what it would cost if I had to front all the money, create X amount without actually knowing how many to make. I'm going to obviously either undercut that or I'm going to go over, and either way that's going to be costly. So the idea of the pre-buy is, we can get a set number. I can have the money on hand all as one lump. It doesn't interrupt any of my other facets of the business. And then I can take that money directly to a manufacturer, a partner company. I can say, look, this is what I want to make. This is what I want to build. Here's what I have to spend, and the end. And so, you as a customer, you benefit in the sense that you receive a product that probably wouldn't get made at a reduced cost versus what it would be full on retail. So That's the gist of it. Obviously, if I were to fund things up front, it's the different type of risk, and once it's done, it's done. And at that point, my more immediate goal is recovering that investment. So I'm going to probably price it more aggressively to see who steps up first, and then you're going to whittle it down and things like that. So I like pre-buy models because I feel like it gives everyone an equal opportunity right off the front. And if you follow KnightDriveTV and that's what you're into and you're waiting for the next thing, pre-buys are the best way to grab something and probably get it at the best cost. Now, the byproduct of this is, you know, you have to be patient and things happen. And I obviously try to get as far through prototyping processes and things like that as I can to be sure that the costs are accurate and things like that. But you know, I've had some people say some negative things about pre-buys, and I just want everyone to know that if you're involved in a pre-buy and, you know, there's obviously any negativity or you have lost your temper, and I don't think most people are those people, but I'm saying if you are watching and you are one of those people, you're going to be immediately refunded, and obviously you're going to be barred from any future pre-buys. You know, you're probably in the better position to just wait for something to be available in stock. And in some cases that may or may not happen, but, you know, most likely it would be more comfortable for you to do that. So I've dealt with a lot of, you know, negativity from certain people and things like that. And I'm just, you know, I'll be honest with you guys, you know, I've had a lot of businesses, I've done a lot of things, and I've, you know, I've had a bunch of money, and then I've had none. And you know what, I was happy both ways. And so I really don't care when it comes to, you know, if I get rid of certain customers and somehow that leads to me having no business, well then I'll just start a different one, because you know, there's just certain things I'm not going to compromise on, and dealing with volatile people and people who have, you know, a big chip on their shoulder when it comes to, like, you know, talking to me a certain kind of way because they gave me $200 for a bezel, you know what I mean, and a coin. I mean, like, I'll just send you on your way. So you know, like I said, I'm going to reiterate for the fourth time, fifth time, like, that's not the majority of you. Most of you are very supportive, very understanding, but there's just this few that, you know, they come out of left field, loony people. So, so that's about that with the pre-buys. You know, I will tell you some of the negativity, and as much as I can say, there can be 400 people that are, you know, either silent or tolerant or patient. But if there's 10 people that scream loudly, it's hard to not allow that to impact your future strategy. And so, you know, like I said, I want to continue to do pre-buys. I want those pre-buys to be accessible to certain people, and people that are kind of built for it. And you know, if I change the model and I start to not do pre-buys, I think everybody loses, to be honest with you. There's certain things I won't make. There's certain risks I won't take. And, you know, doing the pre-buy model, it allows us all to comfortably get something done, get it done at a reduced cost. And I don't have to absorb or be scared like I'm seeing a little bit more of with the maxed ins, which I kind of went the opposite direction. There's a lot of self-funding here. You guys are seeing molds being made, the products being made, PCB boards are being made. We're absorbing the costs of that, and it's been very difficult on the C6 units because the cost of production to build those first, and I have those in stock all the time before I send them, it's become very tricky to navigate. And so, you know, there's a C6 pre-buy I think I'm going to try and run, well, group buy we'll call it, to try and drive the cost down. But when it comes to the C5 maxed in, I am going to run basically a semi type of pre-buy. We're going to have it all finalized. Most of the costs will be absorbed, but what I'll use the pre-buy volume for is to increase the initial product that we purchase and acquire in terms of boards, screens, and things like that, to try and drive down the cost. And so I've talked about this in another video, and I'll talk about it again, but we have some other products that I have had on the back burner that I've been holding off because of bezels, because of lights. And so this stuff, you know, like I said, founding member coins will be attached to each new product. It will go from founding to supporting member, and the more coins and compounded, you know, product coins that you have, there's going to be incentives for that and stuff to save more money, or to have access to pre-buys and pre-buys that I may not announce, and you know, it can continue to get deeper and deeper. Obviously, as we have more dedicated people, there could be potentially products I only release to certain groups of people, and that's it. And so, you know, there's very interesting things we can do if we could be, you know, cooperative, collaborative as a community, things that I can design and make, and things that a group of people could fund and be comfortable with funding and know they're going to get it, and have something that not many people have. So that's kind of the thing I'm looking for in 2024. To wrap this up, it's been 22 minutes, it looks like, you know, or ish. I don't know how I edited this. To kind of wrap it up, yeah, so communications changes, some video changes. We're going to be talking more about the business stuff. There's going to be a membership. And so to wrap it up, I kind of, you know, I'm going to air this out a little bit because I don't really think there's no big deal in saying it. So, you know, it was a pretty big year in 2023 for the one reason that, you know, there's a lot of goals, you know, that people will have in a job, you know, in the job market. People are like, oh, I want to make 100,000 a year. That's always a mark for people, you know, and the same with a business. You know, if you own a small business, you're like, man, you know, making 100,000 a year, that in a small business, you know, that's an accomplishment. So, you know, you want to reach that, and obviously when you do that, then you're like, you know, it'd be something to be a business, make $500,000 or something like that. And so statistically, there's a lot of this is tracked, and so there are about 32.5 million small businesses registered in the United States actively right now, and 9% of those businesses do over $1 million in revenue per year, and it takes them on average 9 employees to do it. And so in 2023, KnightDriveTV did finish at 1.15 with just myself and one other person. So, you know, and Lace, like I said, doing a kind of a 2-day a week. So that speaks to the efficiency of how I operate. My customer acquisition costs and marketing costs are pretty much zero. So, you know, running the machines and doing the 3D printing and things like that, I've driven costs down a lot of areas. That's how I sell a lot of product very affordably. But when you look on the screen side, the maxed in side, this is where we're getting into no pre-buys, collaborations with other partners, and outsourcing more production. And that's leading to what you can see as a more costly product. So, I'm going to move forward in order to continue scaling KnightDriveTV to make more myself, and you know, not to add complexity or labor load, but to bring some of those costs down. I do a lot of the engineering myself. I try to mitigate costs even for partner companies who are co-developing product with me. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunity, and I only tell you guys that because, you know, it is a proud thing to, in year 3, to be able to cross that threshold of 1 million revenue in 1 year. And so I really feel like we can continue to scale and climb. This year already in February, we're 138% ahead of last year. So, and we have a lot of product to release this year. So it's definitely my hope to try and keep it efficient and keep it small and bring you guys a lot more product. I don't want you to get this to your head. So let me be clear that revenue is revenue. We still have, out of that revenue, you have product cost, you have inventory, you've got overhead, taxes, payouts, and things like that. Obviously, some companies make $1 million a year and lose money. That's not the case here. I mean, KnightDriveTV has been profitable every year. And so, you know, that's a mark to how I manage things. And so when it comes to people thinking that these pre-buys are to, you know, prop things up so I can go, you know, out to eat or go on a vacation or something like that, it's definitely not how it is. I mean, I've had businesses where I blew a lot of money over a decade ago and lived on the money and I had nothing at the end. That's not how I do things today. So please don't let the numbers go to your head. This is obviously you would have to see my, you know, profit loss spreadsheet and layouts to understand really what the company or what I'm making. But I can tell you confidently that I've put all the money back into the business very aggressively, and I'm going to continue to do that because I believe in KnightDriveTV more than I believe in taking and leeching money out of it and living on it. You know what I mean? I want to grow the company into a healthier and larger brand, making a lot more types of products and aero products and carbon fiber and lights and all kinds of things. So I hope you learned something about KnightDriveTV in this video. I left certain things at the end because most people don't get it to the end. So if you made it this far, no need to really comment about any of the details in the past, 5-7 minutes in the comment section, but please do leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. And I hope to see some of you guys throughout this year. I appreciate all the support, of course, of if you've bought a product, if you're a pre-buyer, if you're waiting on these bezels. We're going to get this done, and we're going to move on to other things. So I appreciate it, guys, and I'll catch you on the next one.